In 2002, Maid in Manhattan answered a question we didn't quite know we needed the answer to. What would it be like if Lord Voldemort fell in love with Jenny from the block? While Jennifer Lopez was no stranger to romantic comedies, this was definitely out of Ralph Fiennes' comfort zone, and this would be a role he would come to regret. So, what is it about this role that made him never want to go back to romantic comedies? Could it be the bland plotline, lack of consistencies within the characters, or that the movie at some points just didn't make any sense at all? So, grab a drink, sit back, and let's critique Made in Manhattan together. I love that this movie starts off by showing you the inner city of New York to really drive home the fact that JLo's character has no money at all.
You have everything? Yep. Hurry up, sweetie, we're late.
So, fun fact, I think this was Tyler Posey's first movie, and this was a pretty difficult role for a kid. This movie really tried to drive home the fact that he was not like other kids for whatever reason.
Why'd they break up? Who? Simon and Garfunkel.
I call you God because you see everything and you still smile.
I'm cool with that.
I love that at the beginning of every JLo movie, they really showcase that her character is like so beloved because in real life, baby, they be dragging this woman like they dragged her for what she said about the Super Bowl. So at least in the movies, she is loved. No, but on a serious note, I think they did a really good job at showing us her relationship with her coworkers. They come into play. They're a huge part of this movie and like helping the facade. So they did a really good job with that.
A parachute made is expedient. A parachute made is thorough. A parachute made serves with a smile. And above all, a parachute made strives to be invisible.
Maybe we can disappear one day altogether.
So that scene just gave me PTSD, and I'm sure it did for anybody who works in the service industry. They really want you to go above and beyond, but baby, that paycheck never reflects that. Never.
Can I finish getting dressed, please?
Thank you.
You're the one who keeps talking about being a manager. All I'm saying is, it could be you.
So now we're getting a little bit of a subplot here. We see that Marissa is interested in being a manager, but for whatever reason, she doesn't really have the balls to like step up and apply. So now we're getting a little rundown of all of the guests and all the needs that they need to fulfill. I feel like this part was supposed to showcase the main characters, but for whatever reason, they decided to include a bunch of characters that do nothing to help the plot.
Monty.
Oh. I had no idea anyone was here.
Don't worry about it, Mr. Money. No big deal. And I do mean...
He really delivered that line. Like that was the most exciting thing that happened to him the entire year. And movie reactions to me, they just never make any sense. I feel like the writers just completely forget what normal human reactions are just for the sake of like a not so great joke to land.
Here, let me. Here you go.
Thank you.
Oh God, your hand's bleeding. Here, squeeze tight.
So this is one of the plot inconsistencies that pissed me off the most. Like they showed you with his hand shaking, taking pills. You would think that they were going to give you like another story of him like being sick. But nope, the writers really said, let's take one of the oldest characters and just have him suffer for no real reason whatsoever.
Never engaged. Whose side do you want?
Yours. That's why sometimes you have to listen to me. I mean, every now and again it might be nice.
Here.
Welcome to the Beresford, Mr. Marshall.
Oh.
So here they're establishing that he's like a fun candidate that doesn't really care about self-image, but it really just shows that he's privileged and he doesn't really care if he gets a job or not. Because I'm like, if you're running for something, you should probably be taking it seriously. The rest of us do not have that luxury.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, sir.
Between him and Fully Naked Guy, it's really giving rich people get naked first and ask questions later. Because if there's a butler in the room, I'm going to check my surroundings before I just whip my shit everywhere.
Excuse me. Sorry, could you just hold up those two outfits that Dolce sent over earlier?
This might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think Caroline Lane's character was that insufferable. She was a little annoying, but not as ridiculous as they tried to paint her.
You can't be back here.
Lizette, I'd say that you start serving your low-end customers because after all, that's the reason you're here. Unless we're not good enough for you to service. In which case, I'm sure your manager is.
This is what I would like to call fluff in a movie. I don't think we needed this scene, and it honestly contradicts the character that they were trying to portray her as earlier. Because if she's too timid to speak up about a job, why is she going all Jenny from the block on this saleswoman? It doesn't make sense.
What?
I can't be there. I'm in Miami with Muggsy.
Please tell me you're kidding.
I'm in Miami with Muggsy.
Don't do this to me, Marcus.
They are just racking up all the stereotypes in this movie. Not only does she live in like an impoverished area, she's also a maid who has baby daddy issues.
Management, huh?
What?
I'm not saying a word.
Can you not say a word somewhere else?
So instead of the fluff that they gave us with showing us guests that weren't important to the story, I wish they would have taken that time to show us a little bit more of her relationship with her mom. They never bring that back either. It's like another thing that they kind of set a plant for, and it just never really pays off.
Ventura.
She left that mic up so high you would have thought Michael Jordan was giving a speech next, and then she fake tried to come in and save the day and help him. Like, no, he got this on his own, don't worry.
Richard Nixon was born in...
What school play have you been to where there isn't at least one parent yelling, "Take your time, baby," to the kids that are struggling just a little bit up there? Especially in Manhattan, I am not buying it. But this scene at least establishes the fact that Ty is desperate for a male role model in his life, so it's a good setup for what's coming next.
Yeah, I am really sorry about all this.
It's not your fault.
What's with the face? He's a kid. There's a whole hotel to play with.
We come here every day.
Yeah, I'll have a ball.
Why are they acting like this is Eloise at the plaza? They literally shoved that boy in the back of a sewing room and called it a day. He could not have fun in that hotel.
That's it. Put this stuff back. What are you
Oh,
doing?
not till you try him on.
I can't try on her clothes.
So the plot truly falls apart pretty quickly. There is no real motivation for this friend who is pushing her to further her career to also be the same one to like push her to risk everything. They never really established that either one of these characters really wanted to be like the 1%. It's not making sense. I need to know the motivations here. So after leaving the world's worst babysitter, Ty then runs into our love interest.
Hey Ma, this is Christy. He's got a giant gray dog named Rufus. And if you say okay, I'm gonna go walk with him, okay?
So apparently stranger danger isn't a thing in this movie, because why does a random man wanting to take your child on a walk not an automatic red flag for you? They connect a little bit in the times where she's not acting like this.
There's this thing Monday night. It's a black tie for the inner city literacy campaign. It's something I support. It's a big benefit that Blanton Maddox throws every year. And are you interested?
Wait a minute, isn't that the guy who hired Yatter to get pictures of you?
Yes, it is.
Well, I don't get it. Why would you go?
It's exposure.
I don't care how much you have to pay for dinner. You shouldn't have to serve yourself up no matter what the cause.
Like, do we not live in the real world? We all have to do things we don't want to do. Somehow that not at all helpful advice stays with him, and he wants to see her again, but she covers her tracks and gives him a false name. Then we flash back to the subplot of which Marissa's friend took it upon herself to apply to the maid's job on her behalf.
You see, Miss Ventura, sometimes when life shuts one door, it opens a window. So jump.
Oh, don't tell me you're busted.
No, you are. You know what? You had no right.
What kind of Jekyll and Hyde response was that? She went from smirking to basically cursing her friend out. Like, sis, do you want the job or not? It's really not that deep. Just withdraw your name.
What's the problem?
This! Just when they get them to focus on your assets, they're focusing on hers. Thanks.
Well, they're fantastic assets, don't you think?
And it was in that very moment he decided to leave the campaign life behind and turn to a life of murder instead. Because Marissa's hood insight was so enticing, it led to him wanting to see her again, so he ends up sending the message to the wrong person.
Could you run downstairs and get those outfits you returned for me yesterday?
Actually, they're still in the closet. I thought you might want a second look.
You are so good. You should be a personal assistant.
She's a maid.
I feel like they should have made Caroline's personality more like her best friend. It would make you feel a lot less bad about her getting her identity stolen.
Excuse me, I just gotta check on something. She's about 5'6", dark hair, really beautiful, has a kid named Ty. What the hell happened?
I'm sorry, sir.
Don't be sorry, just find her.
Oh, Chris, I loved your quote in the Times.
Please.
So like I was saying earlier, they established the fact that she's really tight-knit with her coworkers, so that's why the butler didn't say anything, which does help make the plot a little bit more believable because, yeah, she would have been found out real quick.
How much will that be?
$3,000. The rates are raised when a couple is split. Singles are always harder to place.
Does the whole hotel know? Is there a biblical sign on my forehead? I'm married, I'm clean.
I don't miss the stereotype of an older woman being that desperate for a man whatsoever. Now that literal science has told us that single unmarried women are the happiest, writing has finally evolved.
What happened? You can still be a manager, right? Yeah, if I break it off with Chris.
Break what off? No offense, sweetheart. What planet are you on?
You don't get it. You know, none of you get it. There was just something different about him.
Like, homegirl is really about to risk her entire career for a man she barely knows, who doesn't really know who she is. But it's okay because it's all in the name of love. Like, what? So her friends pretty much snap her out of it and she decides to go to the benefit. But then we get this really weird montage of her getting excited to go to the ball. Like, shouldn't she be a little bit more devastated given the fact that she's going there to break up with him? I don't know.
I only came to tell you that you and me can't go anywhere beyond this evening.
Oh, then you should have worn a different dress.
So they enjoy the night for about like 2 seconds because after they dance, a campaign manager talks to her and says he knows that she's not who she claims to be. And even though it's in a sweet way, she just tries to run off at that point. But then she bumps into the real Caroline Lane.
Are you, here with Chris?
Can you keep a secret?
Of course. Good. So can I.
Not gonna lie, that is funny and I will be using that in the future. Then here comes Mr. I don't care about this campaign. I'm just gonna leave the event that's literally for me and follow this girl I don't know.
There's something you don't know, okay? Oh God, how do I tell you this? The first time that you saw me, I was...
You were mesmerizing.
Look, if a man cannot read emotional cues where you're clearly broken up about something, that is a red flag. Run, run, run. So they spend the night together, and as she's sneaking out of the room, she runs into Caroline and the friend that does not like her whatsoever.
Harry Winston Reed.
Morning.
Isn't that Maid?
Even though her friend is the worst, like, I gotta give it to her for being able to identify her. Not sure why everybody was acting like they don't know how to tell a difference between someone when they are dressed in one outfit to another. They don't even have the mask excuse in this movie like they do in all the Cinderella movies. It was just really sloppy writing. So at this point, Marissa gets found out because Caroline goes to the hotel and complains.
It would never happen at the Four Seasons.
And I can assure you it has never happened here before either. Ms. Ventura, you no longer work here.
I can't help but feel that this is partly my fault.
It isn't. Spare yourself.
Well, at least let me buy you lunch. After all, we've only got each other to get through this humiliation.
Caroline, the first lunch was a mistake. The second would be complete torture.
Drinks then?
Poor Caroline did not even get a bone thrown her way. Like, they made her super pathetic, one-dimensional. They just used that character as a plot device, and that was it.
But remember, they're only people with money. And although we serve them, we are not their servants.
So her butler friend quits in solidarity, and I am so pissed because this is the last time we see him. He was my favorite character in this movie. And as she's doing the walk of shame out of her hotel, she runs into Chris again, who has questions for her.
What don't you get? I'm the maid.
Well, what was all this? Some kind of bet? A little game of what? Get the guests?
No!
Again, only rich people would think that you would play with your livelihood like that. Like, who comes up with a game called Play with the Guests? When obviously you can get fired for something like that.
You had to pretend to be somebody else so that he would go out with you? Where is your pride, Marisa?
People like you make people like him some kind of god. Why? Because he's rich, he's white, he has things that we don't have, that we don't even want to dream about?
See, this little exchange would have meant more if we dug deeper into her relationship with her mom. That's what I was saying from the beginning. It just doesn't hit the way that it would have had we gotten more from the mom. So, Mr. Up on Current Events knows that Chris is going to be going to the hotel that Marissa gets a job at.
Yesterday's paper, Chris is in town.
He takes it upon himself to see Chris.
I know everyone makes mistakes. And it's a sign of character to give a person a second chance, right?
After his convincing speech, that's enough for Chris to not care about his career and go see his girl. Which, again, it would mean a lot more if they hadn't established through this entire movie that he just doesn't really care about this campaign that much.
Hey, Mom.
Ty, what are you both doing down here? What's...
And in true movie fashion, nobody changes, nothing gets solved, but they all live happily ever after. This is more so a family-friendly movie. I feel as though like pretty much anybody can watch it. The demographic though is definitely like preteen and adult women. But what did you guys think of Made in Manhattan? Let me know in the comments. Remember to subscribe and hit that like button to support my channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.